All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a 53-man roster. The Seahawks just a little bit ago finalized their cuts and announced who their initial 53 men are going to be. Now, it's going to change a little bit in the coming days because they're going to go get other players on who were on other teams who got cut. They still have the Geno Atkins thing to take care of, but we have our initial 53-man roster now. So let's go over the final round of cuts and let's take a look at what we have going into 2021 and compare it to my expectations. So before we take a look at the actual roster, let's go through the final round of cuts, which included one big surprise. Penny Hart, the wide receiver who made some plays last year, was a camp darling, and seems to have a good rapport with Russell Wilson. So look for Penny Hart to be the chief practice squad candidate. If it's going to be anybody, it's going to be him. But for the moment, not a Seahawk. So clearing him out of here. And beyond that, we also have Greg Island, who I already cleared out because he was a UDFA, so that one was pretty expected. Oh, what's up, Tommy Tsunami? Welcome to the channel. So anyway, we also had Robert Kemdici got cut, as I kind of expected. So we're going to clear him out of here for the time being. And we had Demarius Randall, meaning that Trey Flowers stays alive to fight another day. He is still a member of our Seattle Seahawks. And it looks like that's, I don't want to say it's secure, but he can, at this point, rest reasonably assured that he's going to stick around. And also, Brady Henderson reports that Jake Curhan and all three quarterbacks are included in the initial 52. Now, why it's an official 52, well, the trade for Sidney Jones is not yet official. It will be in the coming days, but for the moment, technically, he's not part of the team. But we all know he's going to be, so hold the spot for him, I guess. And Jamarco Jones also ended up making the active roster, so let's go ahead and put him over here. Sean Mannion ended up making the roster for the moment, so we actually carry three quarterbacks. Donkor got cut. I could not find a tweet for it, but I do know that he was released. And Miles Adams was one of the releases, so we're going to get him out of here. And Will Sunderland as well. Okay, so let me go ahead and dot my I's and cross my T's here. We have ourselves a 53-man roster, plus Geno Atkins, who we'll see. All right, so let's go ahead and run it down. Field Goals has the roster here. We'll go through and make sure that we have all the same stuff. Quarterback, we kept Russell Wilson, Geno Smith, and Sean Mannion. Did not cut anybody this time around. Running back, kept Carson, Collins, Homer, Dallas, and Penny. So we kept all five running backs after all. And we cut Josh Johnson, consistent with what we have here. Tight end, Gerald Everett, Will Dissly, and Colby Parkinson, all kept. Mabry, Sutton, and Bunting let go. Consistent with what I had and what was expected. Wide receiver, there was a little bit of an upset here. Lockett, Metcalf, Eskridge, and Swain are still kicking. Penny Hart was a surprise cut, and as you can see, we are left with 4 wide receivers. Don't expect that to last, which is why I say that just because you made the initial 53-man does not mean you're going to make the 53-man when the season starts. We could easily, in fact, I fully expect us to dump Sean Mannion and pick up either Atkins or a receiver, and you could see somebody like a Jamarco Jones get cut or a Cedric Ogbuehi get cut. So this is not yet fully resolved, but for the moment, 4 wide receivers, which is certainly not something that I'm very comfortable with, given the fact that Eskridge may not even be 100% yet. Tackle, we're keeping 5 tackles. Dwayne Brown, Brandon Shell, Cedric Ogbuehi, Stone Forsythe, and Jake Curhan. So, in the interest of being fully accurate, I'm going to move Jake Curhan over there, and we're going to put Jamarco Jones at guard. But the idea remains the same. They made the team. So we have 5 tackles on this team. 2 of them rookies, 3 of them veterans. Back to field goals here real quick. Yeah, Tommy Champion and Greg Island were the cuts. Interior offensive line, Gabe Jackson, Ethan Posick, Damian Lewis, Kyle Fuller, Jamarco Jones, and Phil Haynes. Jordan Simmons, Brad Lundblade, Jared Hawker, and Pierre-Olivier Lestage have been cut. So, yeah, looks like that's consistent with what we have here as well. Now we move over to the defense. We kept Collier. He was somebody I had an eye on, but we decided to keep him for the moment. Dunlap, Rasheem Green, Kerry Hyder, Alton Robinson, Benson Mayowa. Looks fairly consistent with what we have over here. No cuts this time around. Defensive tackle, Poona Ford, Brian Monet, Al Woods. Kept all 3 of them as expected for the moment. Collier on my chart listed as a tackle, but we'll see how the team ends up using him. And Hewitt, Adams, and Kim Dichie got cut again as expected. All right, linebacker and field goals. I don't know if the Seahawks have made any official announcements about this yet, but field goals is on my wavelength because they have Nick Bellore listed as a linebacker here. So we've got Wagner, Brooks, Barton, Taylor, and Nick Bellore. Wagner, Brooks, Barton, Taylor, Bellore. So consistency there. Cut Lakiem Williams, John Radigan, and Aaron Donkor as expected. And cornerback, we've got Sidney Jones, Akella Witherspoon, Trey Brown, Trey Flowers, DJ Reed, and Ugo Amadi. And we've cut John Reed, Gavin Heslop, Will Sunderland, and Demarius Randall. So, yep, that all checks out. I have Amadi listed as a nickelback, but nickelback, cornerback, it's tomato, tomato. Safety, we have Quandre Diggs, Jamal Adams, Ryan Neal, Marquise Blair, cut Josh Moon, and Asari Crosswell. Yep, I have Blair listed as a nickel corner, but either way, he's made the team, and so did the other guys. So looking good there. And, of course, kicker, Myers, punter, Dixon, long snapper, Ott. Myers, Dixon, Ott. Okay, so there's your 53-man, and that is the full list of cuts. 2 surprises would include Penny Hart and Jordan Simmons. I thought both those guys would make the team, especially Penny Hart. I don't think either is a huge loss, but we'll know in the coming days whether or not they're still going to be part of the organization. That might determine whether or not it's a big surprise or an ultimately insignificant one. But, yeah. Cross out Geno Atkins, and this is your current 53-man Seahawks roster in effect. I really do think that Sean Mannion is not long for this roster. I can't imagine us carrying 3 quarterbacks when we only have 4 receivers and when we're clearly hankering to bring in Geno Atkins. But Mannion will probably find a home on the practice squad anyway because that's the kind of quarterback that he is at this point in his career. He's a practice squatter. And still think a running back, one of these 5 running backs, could be moved to clear out for another receiver. There are going to be a lot of interesting wide receivers that hit the waivers in the upcoming couple of days. So we may go out and get somebody like a Kiki Kuti from Houston. So definitely something to monitor. I don't know if we're going to carry 11 offensive linemen either, but I don't know who gets pushed off unless it's Cedric. That's the only one that makes any sense at all, and Carroll seems to really like him, so I don't know if I buy it yet. But that's all stuff that we'll learn about in the next few days. Trey Flowers probably shouldn't rest easy yet either. He is definitely a candidate to eat a cut if we decide we want to add a little depth somewhere else. But, yeah, 53-man roster. I think I'm going to go ahead and end it here. We'll discuss this setup more tonight, and we'll talk about the practice squad in the very near future. For now, I'll just... obviously, we hope that our practice squad can come from our cuts, but as for who exactly I think we'll be coveting the most, I'll talk about that, let's say, tomorrow morning. All right, see you guys a little later. Peace out, go Hawks. 53-man roster is set, people. What do you think?